Hey there, my name's Rebecca. I'm the singer of Ravenlight. We are a symphonic power metal band based in Belfast, Northern Ireland. We put out an album there last month called Immemorial, and we're going to be chatting about it and just talking in general live on the D-Mail Galaxy YouTube channel. We're going to be live from 8 PM on Wednesday, the 22nd of February. So we hope to see you there. It'll be a good time. There's going to be a live chat. Come and ask us some questions. Don't ask about him. You're not allowed to ask about the bird. Have a good time. Peace out.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Metal Galaxy YouTube channel, where we bring reviews, interviews and the metal news into your living room. So tonight we are staying on our show to interview a band whose album we had the pleasure to experiment live just recently. As a result, we will discuss Immemorial by Ravenlight in live experience as well. Welcome everyone. Most of you have been already on our YouTube channel, but for those who missed it, can you please introduce yourself, and each of you introduce the band Ravenlight with one word?
I'm Rebecca. I'm the vocalist of Ravenlight. One word. Goofy.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike, I'm the drummer of Ravenlight, and I would describe the band as fun.
Great.
Hey guys, I'm Dean, I'm the new bass player. My one word for Ravenlight would have to be fun.
Amazing. So thank you all for introducing. Last weekend you had your album launch gig. For those who missed it, what did they actually miss?
Well, they missed me being pretty silly for sure. Yeah, I mean, I suppose they would have missed our. It was the first time we performed a lot of. I think probably 80% of the album. It was the first performance of the entirety of the new album.
Feeling you performed the whole album, but maybe it was me, all the songs.
Yeah. No, sorry. What I meant by that was we have performed Reflections and The Mask of Red Death before at Siege of Limerick, and those are the only two songs from the album that we have played before last weekend. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, a couple of days before the show, I was sitting in my living room here. I was playing through the album. I was looking at the set list, playing through the album. I actually put a post up on Facebook. My necks are really going to hurt the morning after. It was a heck of a set, so it was.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a blast to play it. It was also nice to return to Belfast for the first time in almost a year, because we haven't been there since our previous album launch, which was back in February of last year, 2022.
That's right. Yeah, I know it's crazy to think that we're based in Belfast. Obviously, you're not, but the fact that the band are supposed to be based in Belfast and we hadn't played in Belfast for an entire year. But it is what it is.
So it was refreshing with new material, and it was refreshing to play hometown again.
But it was as well very sweet to see you again playing after such a long time, because I think there was built out of Siege of Limerick what the new album is going to be, and then you are back in your hometown. So for me it feels like a complete full celebration again, because I think there was as well some new stuff happening 1 year ago too. So for those who weren't in Belfast, they missed basically the whole taste of the whole album.
Yes.
And I must say it was a great one just to see and to listen to the CD, both different experience, I would say, and it's great. I love especially the element, I think, that was really present during your live show. What I've seen in CD, obviously the visuals like Rebecca, but as well Dean and John just, immersing the album and just transferring all emotions, or even, I noticed you had like a certain way of moving with your guitar and so on. So, like, illustrating.
Bass players get a bit of a bad reputation sometimes, so they do. I mean, I've seen musicians in general, even from local bands right up to arena bands, just standing glued to the stage playing. And they don't seem to realize it's okay to look like you're having fun, and that's the whole point of it.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, yeah, definitely you two, like you and John. I notice it more and more with every gig. You know, whenever I go one direction, it's almost like you and I swap places, and then you're up like playing next to him, and he's like going like this. It's fun.
And for you, Mike, how do you think you brought behind your drum kit?
Well, I did exactly as I said behind my drum kit. You know, whenever we play in Belfast, especially doing a headline show in Belfast, it's one of the very few opportunities that I have to bring out my own drums. And when that happens, I do tend to go all out and bring out the full thing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I had an awful lot of fun doing that. And I feel like that was a fairly good representation of the album, at least for its first live outing.
And you, Rebecca, how was it to sing live and to express all the music?
Oh, it was great fun. I was, sorry. I was a little bit sort of worried in the days leading up, because I was kind of like, oh, I haven't done a lot of these songs live yet, and oh no, what if I forget a lyric and this sort of thing. But no, I just practiced like hell in the lead up to it, and then just on the day it was just like, right, get a couple of pints, let's go, let's do this thing, you know. And it was very fun too, because that was the first time that I got to perform live with my new wireless microphone setup. I've never been able to use one, like a wireless microphone before, so being able to just kind of hop off the stage and run in through the crowd and woo, like annoy people was great. So it was good fun.
It was certainly good fun, and I've recorded a videos that will show up later on the channel. Let's go to my random question. So I'm wondering, following Rebecca, how many drinks per day do you consider too many?
It all depends on the context.
Like, so, name the context and the drinks.
If it's St. Patrick's Day, there's no limit, you know.
So you can drink hundreds. Yeah,
whatever your body says no, that's the limit on St. Patrick's Day. But on Monday night, then, you know, maybe none. I don't know.
How many would you say is too much for a show?
I think the last time somebody asked me that, it was pretty my doctor. No, I'm kidding. I don't like to get particularly drunk at shows, because obviously we all know, you know, the cliche thing of like, you know, rock people and metalheads and all having like drink addiction and then going down the path of drugs and all that crap. And I don't have time for drugs. I just don't. I'm too busy. So like, I don't want to make a habit of needing alcohol either to get on stage. I don't think that's a good thing either. But I like to have maybe 2, maybe 3 pints in a night if we're playing a gig. Just enough that I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm relaxed and I'm not nervous. But not enough that I'm so drunk that I can't sing in tune. Because that wouldn't be good. Imagine people paying £7 in to see us and I'm just like falling all over the stage. Wouldn't be good.
Yeah, that will
new show.
It's a different kind.
I'd pay to see that too.
If I'm saying correctly, Immersing is the album in between, building up music-wise towards Immemorial. For this reason, I'm wondering, how do you think Ravenlight has grown musically, and what new path did you take?
Well, I think I should probably clarify that Intermission was an EP, not a full album.
Yeah.
There's only 3 songs on it, and they're all covers. But in terms of how we grew as a band together, I'll probably, obviously the question will go to Rebecca and Dean. But from my perspective, we all, I think, learned a lot along the way of the first album and Intermission about how we all like to record and how we all like to sound on an album. So I think we all went through some pretty significant changes over the years of upgrading our recording equipment. So I think that was a fairly big step. step up at least from the previous release. And from my own personal side of things as well, I decided to be a bit more adventurous in terms of the parts that I was writing. You know, the first album I was a lot more concerned with sticking to the beat, you know, playing a very simple 4/4 sort of thing to not stick out too much, you know, to play things safe. This time around, I decided to occasionally go out of my way to change things up a bit, still within the realms of what's acceptable for the music, but definitely a lot less safe as well, I'll say.
Right.
I'd say for me, yeah, like I feel like my my sort of range in vocal styles has probably changed quite a bit since the first album, because it was probably more, my vocals are probably more classically leaning, whereas now they're sort of both classically leaning but also kind of more of a power metal kind of vocal kind of coming through. So I seem to be doing a little bit of both now. Just sort of how it's gone, I guess. Yeah, I think I'd like John would be the person that would write the lyrics most of the time. But I mean, the difference between the last album and Immemorial was that I wrote the lyrics for 2 songs. I co-wrote one of them, but you know, wrote lyrics for you know, more on this album than I did for the last album, and Mike also wrote lyrics for a song on this album as well. So it's kind of becoming more like everybody's doing a little bit more of different things.
Mike write which song?
Oh, Mike wrote the maze.
Yeah, that was not just the lyrics, actually. I pretty much came to the band with a full song ready to go.
You did?
You know, yeah.
Sorry, I just meant from a lyric writing point of view. Sorry, that's what I meant.
No worries. Continue, Rebecca.
Yeah, no, that's just what I was saying. Like, I think everybody. I think we sort of were. I almost sort of feel like we were kind of like dipping our toes in the water a little bit with the first album, whereas now with the second album, it's more like, oh, I want to try doing this, and you know, I feel confident enough now that I can take, you know, this melody that I've written or this whatever, and you know, do something with that instead of just sticking to being a singer or just sticking to, you know, just writing drums, you know, from Mike's point of view or whatever. Kind of just doing a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it feels like you're much more maybe experimental, confident what you've done before, but as well, I would say, otherwise, I would say you grow a lot from the first and Project Genesis, then Intermission, and then we had Immemorial. So I felt like it was every time you made a step, and music-wise, I would say the composition improved as well. And I think what you described can contribute to this. So I'm wondering then about the song that you wrote, Mike. How was it to write your first song? And well, yeah, how did you come up with the idea basically as well?
The idea was like going. I went on quite a deep and extensive mental health journey over the last year and a half. So that's kind of what the song is centered about. But I think one of the more interesting things, and I guess more challenging things about writing my own song for the band, is relinquishing control over some aspects of it, and you know, letting other band members, you know, ultimately the people who will be performing it, have their own say as to how things should be. So yeah, that was my experience with it anyway.
So what were your favorite moments of the album launch gig?
Everybody in the crowd. Everybody in the crowd that I was talking to afterwards thought it was really funny that I was asking John a question, and because he was so focused on fixing whatever was going wrong with his guitar preamp thing, or whatever it was that he was doing, he did not hear me at all. And everybody on the crowd heard me say his name, and he didn't hear me. And I was just like, all right, John, right? He's not listening. So that's probably one of my more favourite moments, because I didn't think that anybody in the crowd actually noticed that, but basically everyone did. Yeah.
I noticed that John had problems with his guitar, but I thought that him not responding was just being John busy there with his guitar. I thought it was part of the show.
No, I think he was probably so busy that he just literally just didn't hear me, but it was funny. Because it just looked like he was ignoring me, like just to be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. It depends on the context.
Yeah.
And what were your favorite moments, Mike?
Can I say all of it? I don't know. I guess a lot of the fun was the encore actually. Weirdly, because we had finished. I suppose there was a space in between the last song and the ending of the show. So we finished with Springtime Lament, and I have a very fun part at the end of it, which basically turns into a drum solo, everything going to hell, everything going chaos and crazy. So that was a lot of fun. And then seeing the lights turn off and the crowd sort of going quiet and then chanting for another song, and us returning with songs that we've been playing for about 3 years now, if not longer at this point, like 4 years. Classics like Words Unspoken and Wild Hunt. That was a lot of fun to present people with something new, and then to remind them that no, we're still the same band.
And yours?
Well, for me, the whole thing. It was my first hometown show at Ravenlight, and my mum and my brother and my wife, they all came out to see us. During my brother's favourite song, he was at the barrier all night. He was going nuts for his favourite song. At the end, reached over and gave him a wee fist bump, and it just made my night. That was pretty special, so it was.
Yeah, that must be a special moment. Thank you all for sharing your favorite moments. Mine was just Rebecca running around. What particular moments you experienced and stepped forward in the EP and took in Immemorial, and what elements have you avoided?
Yeah, that's a tough question, to be honest. Avoiding elements especially. I don't really think of things that I avoid. I try and think more of things that I go out of my way to do,
I suppose I just try to avoid falling into the same sort of melodic patterns with, in terms of, let's just say, I think the only thing I really avoid is, I'm afraid of having, like vocal melodies that sound the same as other songs that we've already got. Because sometimes you find yourself falling into a pattern of like a distinctive sort of melodic pattern.
Yeah,
and that can kind of make things. It can kind of make it that your songs end up sounding the same because your melodies sound similar. So I try not to. Obviously, like John writes the melodies, and then he'll kind of come through with like a rough melody, for vocals, and then I'll kind of put my own spin on it, and sometimes change it up a bit or a lot depending on how it is. But yeah, just trying not to sound the same across all songs, I guess.
And I believe it makes it so great, Ravenlight, because I come from the Dutch metal scene. So after 20 years listening to symphonic metal, I'm like, not another band, basically, because I'm so familiar with Ravenlight. Whoa, this is different. Let's listen, let's see them live. And the energy and shows you put on, they greatly differ from what I've seen. So that makes me really hooked into you guys.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering then, if I'm correct, I noticed in Immemorial you had a ballad, you had something else. So what I was feeling was that there was a spread of songs too as well, with lights, cameras, and so on.
Yeah, I think we had 3 sort of ballads on the album, but we also had one long song that we like to think of. I think it's over 8 minutes anyway. Springtime Lament, the finisher.
Yeah, and that song, there is like a talk line as well, which makes it different as well.
Yeah, it's weird. It was actually really weird recording that because I don't usually record me speaking. So that's just like
what I was wanted to ask, and it was weird for me listening, to be honest. The album I was listening, and I'm like, something is broke in my computer. Was clicking everywhere, everything away, and then I noticed that you were just speaking on the music song, and I was like, oh, you're speaking there.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird when you're just working away and just listening as background music, but like in the show it worked greatly because it's something different and it grabs your attention, but as well when you listen it, even on today, it's something different. It how do you say, it's memorable. So it's something you like. The very fact that we are speaking about it, it makes it really grabbed my attention, basically.
Yeah, it's funny because like we were talking about, you know, like getting an actual voice actor to record that line, and I was just like, I don't want to pay anybody to do that. I'll just do it. It's fine. You know what? It's a thing too. I think it can be kind of jarring to have, like, say, we're an Irish band. So if we paid, like, say, for example, an American voice actress to say that, you know, that poem, I think it would almost be like, oh, are they an American band? Do you know, like if you're first listening to it, I don't know. I just think maybe it could be a little bit jarring. But
yeah, it was good. The voice, it was a bit different than your usual one, I would say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, great. Dean, anything to add about the elements in the album?
Well, I came on board right at the start of the writing process for this album, and I'm just building on what Rebecca said. It's important to have a certain personality or style in the way you play or you sing or you write melodies, but it's important not to fall into the same sort of routine, playing the same things over and over again. Like whenever I was writing my bass parts, I found myself, hold on a second, I've played something a bit similar to that in another track, and try something new. So it's important to avoid playing the same thing over and over again, because with so many great bands out there, you know, it's hard to stand out. So it is. So you have to be able to stand out however you can. Make sure people remember you. Yeah, something like that. Anyway.
Also, what particle elements you experimented and stepped forward in the EP and took in Immemorial, and what elements have you avoided?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I guess one of the things I tried to avoid a little bit was, again, like the other said, you know, playing the same thing over and over again. Like, in my case as a drummer, it's quite difficult to do because everything comes back to the root 4/4, you know, sort of straight beat. And the thing is that just fits so well. That's one problem. And the other problem is that when you try and step away from that, very often you can be distracting from the rest of the song, and you might be doing something that's more fun for you, but it doesn't serve the song. And ultimately, that's the most important thing there. So I guess in my case, what I tried to do was I tried to bring more interesting elements, more interesting beats to it. Still, the vast majority of it is the simple straight groove, but you know, I've had chances in it to change things up a little bit. Very, very small things, like minor things that most people probably wouldn't even notice. And sometimes I've also gone and flipped the script completely and, you know, tried new things, new beats, that sort of thing.
Great. So basically, no repetition in Immemorial. It will be something you haven't heard yet.
I wouldn't go that far, sure.
Okay, let's do a random question. We have asked a tough question. Let's do some random. Dean, if you would be a member of the opposite sex for a day, what's the first thing you would do?
I don't think I can answer that.
Not in a PG context, anyway.
No.
I wonder if we want to know, actually.
I don't think you do.
Oh, it's the same environment, you can say.
I feel a bit uncomfortable because my wife's right over there.